What you're looking at is a beautiful bright pink two-piece prom dress. There are 3 fitting problems with this dress. There's one problem with the top, right here, and then we have 2 problems with the skirt. As far as the top goes, I'm going to need to take in the midriff area for a change. Usually we're taking in at the underarms down a ways. In this event, it's the midriff from about here down. Then when it comes to the skirt, I'm going to be taking in the sides, which won't be too difficult of a prospect, except it will be a little challenging with the beads in the way, won't it? So I'll need to take them off and keep the rest of the beads from hemorrhaging. Lastly, I'm going to hem the chiffon layer only of this skirt, and I'm going to show you how to do that on my serger. In my opinion, it's this top that's going to be the most challenging, so let's start there. When we look at the side seam, we see there's plenty of beads to keep from hemorrhaging here too, don't we? Now, as it turns out, we're going to be taking it in about 1 inch total. That means only a 1/2 inch on each side. So fortunately, that's only about a bead's depth on either side of the seam here. Then we're going to taper up here at about the 5-inch mark to the original seam. So it's a very slender pie piece that we're going to take out here on both sides. Meanwhile, what it takes will be this. When we turn this wrong side out, it looks like we've got a couple layers here, and then a satin backing here. So we're going to have to access everything through here and see what we've got for a seam. Then I'm probably going to figure out a way, sometimes I just do this by feel. I don't actually quite know what is going to happen next until I get in there, much like a surgeon. So I'm guessing at this point I'll get in there, then I'll have to figure out how much beading to take back and carefully make sure that somehow I secure the remaining beads. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet. Follow along. What a journey, what a mystery. All right, bravely, I'm going to take the seam ripper and let's find out what's in here. Okay, I feel like this is a very nicely made top. I was able to detach the lining here. Now the side seam is revealed. I like it because all I have to do is zip through the end here. Then I'll just hand sew what I ripped back here and here on up over it again once I've taken it in. I did decide to stop just short of the satin lining. That does happen to be the magic 5 inches or so that I need, which ends right about here. Now all I have to do is figure out what I'm going to do about these beads, because this is easy access. Okay, so from the front, where's the 5-inch mark? It's right about here, or pretty close to this bead, okay? Okay, it seems like this one is not sewn on. I believe it's glued on, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that. I'll have to give it a wide berth, won't I, with the needle, but this is the widest part down here anywho. I'm actually going to pick back these beads one more layer, because even though the 1/2 inch that I need to take on either side is pretty much right up to the beads, I don't want to be right up to the beads. I want to have a little leeway. So it's going to be better if I have about 3/4 inch on each side clearance down here at the bottom. In the end, I picked out a few more beads than I said I was going to. I've struck these beads before with my needle and it's just no fun. So I took plenty out. And as far as that one that was glued, see how I just had to take a little scissors my little clipper scissors and I just had to like gouge it out. That's all I could do. But fortunately that's within the realm of what's going to be taken in. It's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to turn inside out again and pin my sewing line. It's time to actually sew. I do kind of want to start from the bottom at the widest and move up. So having found the 1/2 inch mark, a pinning I go. You can always chalk a line if that's going to be more comfortable for you. Now it's time for me to go over to the machine, and so I'm going to come back after each sewing step and show you the results rather than showing you all of the machine sewing steps. That's because you guys know how to sew. So I'll be back shortly. And there it is, just a tiny little seam. So what I could do now is trim that. Then I'll simply fold over the lining, folding back in a wedge shape the lining, starting at a 1/2 inch here. Place it over like it was and hand sew that into place, which I'll show you better in a little bit. Looks so nice. I wouldn't really have to stack beads right up to the edge as they originally were, would I? And I might just not, because for me time is money. But anyone can opt to, can't they? So in the end, this top is not that frightening of a prospect. I just got all this satin stitched down by hand. But as far as the technical aspect of it goes, not that hard. Well, let's compare the undone side with this finished side and see if it really makes all that much difference to not replace all those beads. And I'm going to say, yeah, this side looks lovely with this many beads on it. But so does this side. And if you make the other side match it, it's really of no consequence. The main idea is that it looks this beaded in the front and in the back. You get to decide. I'll go ahead now and make the unfinished side look like the finished side. Then we'll go over to the skirt waist where we will contend with beads again and see the outcome of that endeavor. Okay, one last look at the top before we move on to the skirt. I finished both sides and here they are. See, looks really nice without replacement of the beads that I took off, so I'm not going to. I'll leave it up to mother and daughter to decide if they want to. Okay, moving on. Now that we've had the experience with the top, we better understand when we go to do the side, which also needs only 1 inch total taken in and to about 4 inches down, that we're going to be picking back more beads than it appears to at first. So there might be some more gap here, just like there was with the top. In this event, I guess I would be interested in putting the beads back for sure for the uniform look. it would look more gappy than the top does to not put the beads back, is what it seems like at first blush here. Okay, what I'll first do then is I'll detach this kind of top stitching right here. Then I'll get the lining detached from the skirt here to, a good couple inches back. Then I'll be taking in, see, the lining skirt is just a skirt within the main skirt, and there are two lining skirts here. Then I'll take in this skirt, then I'll take in this skirt, having picked off the beads, and then we'll slap it all back together again and get beads back on. That's essentially what's going to happen here. So let's now do it. Okay, so again, we end up taking a lot of beads off, and we wish we didn't have to, but we have to allow for the wide berth of the presser foot as it goes at its ½ inch mark. It still has to have plenty of room on either side of the needle for that presser foot, and that's why. So now I find my way inside here by putting my hand up through the bottom two skirts, the chiffon, and between the two different satin lining skirts, and find my way all the way up to the top here until I'm here. Now I can take it wrong side out, and here are my two skirts, the lining skirt and the main skirt. I'll set the hang ribbon aside for now and try to remember to get that back in at the right time. Explore these seams now. I wish the manufacturer would have made this skirt a little more alterations friendly. By that I mean it would have been nice if they had made this all a continuous seam here. No, they didn't. What they did was they completed this seam here, completed this seam here on the skirt, and then they sewed it together like this. It would have been better if they had to sewed everything on together and then did this seam last. Same for this side. That's okay, we'll deal. Now here's how we dealt with that situation. Sure, I took the waistbands in, that ½ inch on each side, equaling an inch total. Then, where that needs to meet up to the skirt, I just took a narrow wedge, like I said I would, about 3 inches down, from the ½ inch point up here, times 2 equals 1, so that they would match. Did that on this side, and then once I trim these seams a bit, it'll all match up and I'll zip across. I also had to deal with that on the chiffon layer. Okay, let's turn it all right side out and see what we've got. This is what we've got. Looking good. Lining side of things, skirt side of things, all matches up. We'll deal with these tendrils later. On to the other side. Except, guess who forgot to put the hang ribbon back in? So now I'll do that real quick. Put it right here. And that simply means opening it up here, threading it through with a safety pin through the ends so I have something to grasp when I turn it inside out. Like so. And there it is. Ready and waiting. I'll push it back a little bit, but then I'll just zip across and we'll finally be done with that. What you're looking at is finished side seams, all rebeaded. So, ribbon, side seams in, rebeaded. Let's move on to that skirt hem we were talking about in the beginning. If you've got a serger and it has at least 3 spools, and you can look up in your manual that you can do a rolled hem or something like that name, and you can make a tail on your machine like this, then I've got a nice surprise for you. Now, using scrap, just like I am for you here, watch what happens. By staying very close to the edge, and not having to mess around with folding or anything like that, you can go on to make a hem every bit as beautiful as the straight stitch hem the manufacturer has done. All right then, we're all finished. Good job.